Hi, and welcome to the next hobby. Here's mine. A motorcycle that is new to me. I'll explain a little bit about the bike, why I bought it. This is me just sort of coasting down the long driveway. And you may notice the angle just changed. It got a lot lower. That's because the camera almost slid off the bike. So when I come to the end of the street here, I will remount it. So I had the camera arm mounted to a piece of chrome in the back, and it slid down. Either the diameter is too small or too slippery or what, so I remounted it to the down tube. And it worked much better. So this is the angle basically for the rest of this long video. I will change the perspective a little bit, as you'll see as we go around corners and things. That's done in post. But overall, this is our ride, and you are welcome to enjoy it with me. So what does somebody look for in a first motorcycle? This was mine. I wanted something smaller, lighter, simpler, cheaper, and something that would take me around town through some back roads, and really that is about it. I bought this as a low mileage example from a gentleman who had it in his family for many years. His father bought this in the early 90s as a used bike to do kind of like what I'm doing here, just to kind of poke around town. So sort of keeping it in the same usage. Those of you who happen to be enthusiasts will follow several channels who will tell you never to buy a bike like this. My rider coaches in the MST told the group not to buy a bike like this. Too small, too simple, unsafe. Not all of which is true. But the overriding feeling about a lot of this is that if you buy a motorcycle that is too slow, too simple, too whatever, you will outgrow it in 6 months, and you will have wasted your money, because then you'll be looking for a larger motorcycle that goes faster or looks fancier or flashier or whatever. And that's not to say that I won't go down that path, but that doesn't mean that this one goes in the ditch when that happens. Small motorcycles, many motorcycles serve many purposes. They can be handed down to another family member, obviously. They can be resold to somebody else who wants to learn how to ride. So there's a lot of good reasons for going small, particularly if, and here's that dividing line is the highway. If you don't have any use for the highway, you can get by with a really slow motorcycle. That's what this is. Is it quick enough for around town? Easily. So then the question becomes exactly how slow is it? That was a rhetorical question. I don't have a clue how fast or how slow this is, nor do I really care at the moment. But it's fast enough for what I'm looking to do. This road is the back road to the high school and junior high from where we live. It was asphalt, and they redid it as gravel. So they poured a bunch of gravel on it and sort of pressed it down. And that was cheaper to do than doing fresh asphalt. This is a sequence I filmed twice because when I came around from this stop, I accelerated too much in first gear and the corner swept a little bit wide, so I had to refilm that one. It helps not to become too distracted when you're riding. I believe Honda said this will go 72-ish or so miles per hour as a top speed. I've never attempted that. Once you get above 55 or so, buzzy engine gets very, very buzzy, even more so. 60 miles per hour is the most I've ever had, and it may be the most I ever try on this. Everything vibrates a lot. Right here at the high school, they have a quick little turnaround next to one of the buildings. It's nice for practicing low-speed corners. And this camera angle is just automatically done in software. How about that? Insta360, and I suppose the other competitors let you choose a common perspective, an angle, and so it keeps that. If you don't want that, you change it in software later on. That's part of the appeal of these things. So as I do this voiceover, I'm wanting to get back to this same parking lot. All of this was done at about 8:45, 9 o'clock in the morning. Earlier today, and I have some cut down tennis balls which I want to practice a few things with. This is the perfect type of parking lot for that. Again, it looks like I'm screaming around there, but I'm not. Most of you have an empty school parking lot. That's great for this, for the weekends. You can practice a lot of different things that you normally wouldn't be able to do on the street. So anyway, back to the bike. Yeah, it's got 800 horsepower and no, it's what is it, 17, I think, 16 maybe. 4 speeds. This is back in the era when everything had pretty much moved to 5 speeds. But like I said, this was a simple bike, a low-cost bike, so you get drum brakes everywhere, which are just fine. 4 speeds, which is again just fine. There would be some times when I wish it did have 5. This parking lot in front of the junior high is really nice because you can do a lot of low-speed sweepers and some sharp turns. If you want, you can go between those parking stops. It's not open like it is on the high school, but just for kind of doing some slow sweepers around, it's nice. And again, this is, on the weekend or in the evenings, This is always empty. Probably should also mention that one reason why this video is as long as it is because this is the first time I was using the 360 lens on the Insta360 RS Twin. So this gave me a lot of opportunity to, even though it's only one mounting point on the motorcycle, it gave me a lot of opportunity to play with angles, keyframes. There's still a lot I don't know about how to use the software, but I'm using it in conjunction with VideoProc Vlogger, which is a free download editing piece of software similar to iMovie if you have a Mac, except that it does a lot more than actually what iMovie does. So again, everything's a learning curve. I bought this motorcycle primarily because I wanted to learn a new skill set. If you do not ride a motorcycle, think about what your feeling is about them. Your first inclination is probably to realize that it's not quite like riding a bicycle, and it surely isn't like driving a car. So what is it exactly? Well, it's a little of both for different reasons. Motorcycles are interesting to me because you are constantly aware of all the moving pieces. On a standard motorcycle, you have to use both hands, you have to use both feet, sometimes all at once, doing different things in order to correctly make a maneuver or possibly avoid something. There are a few bikes over the years that have had automatic transmissions. Most of them, of course, are not like that. They are manual. But if you've come from a manual or a stick shift car, shifting gears on a motorcycle is pretty easy. Doesn't mean you'll be as smooth as you might be in a car, but just like anything else, you get used to it after a while. Some of you like to watch TV shows or movies and put them on as background. I'm not that kind of person, but if you're the kind of person who likes to put videos on in the background while you do other things, the length of this video might suffice for you. There's 10 more minutes of this. But then again, what else do you have to do today? And this is why you keep your motorcycle tuned up. Because you just never know when something's going to just come right out there and try to get you. Miss me, bitch. Let's talk color grading. This video has been color graded. There, we talked about it. Actually, I'm using one of the choices in Video Proc Vlogger, one of the presets that I modified. You can import your own LUTs, which is nice. You can do your own color grading. The out-of-the-box video quality of the Insta360 is pretty good, even on the 360 lens. I just chose, for all these clips, just a different look. It's got a little more of a, I don't know, retro, filmish, crappy look to it. That sort of, you know, maybe is more in keeping with the period that the bike was made. And it's interesting. It has the effect of making it look like it's later in the day, but it was early morning. It looks like it, in fact, it looks like it's later in the year. When I look at this video again, it looks like it was, I don't know, October, late September. Well, it's almost late September, but it was a bright sunny day. But I just kind of muted everything and adjusted everything and just kind of gave it this, well, according to Video Proc Vlogger, they called it more of a cinematic look. Hey, I just took you downtown. This is the town square. So if you blink, you may miss downtown. That's it. Just left downtown. came up to this intersection a couple of weeks ago when the bike had a different carburetor on it, and I came all the way to the stop, and the engine died and would not start, and would not start, and would not start, and would not start for a while. Finally it did start, but it didn't start for a while. And in the meantime, I probably had about 10 people come by and say, "Hey, you need any help? You okay?" Very nice. What I needed was a carburetor that did not have a throttle adjustment that came so out of whack with a weak spring. Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Kawasaki lets the good times roll. Anybody remember that TV commercial from way back? And we'll go past the house up to the round pen here. My idea was to go around the round pen. I didn't realize they had moved the round pen, making this very narrow, but it was all right. Again, this is that central perspective the camera keeps. It just turns it around for you. If it works, it works. Otherwise, you got to move it in post afterwards. All right, enough fun of that. One last blast down the road while I miss a shift or two. I miss second gear sometimes. It's weird. Hondas, sometimes it's hard to hit neutral. And then when you're trying to hit second, sometimes it's hard to hit second and you get neutral. It's very strange. But anyway, that's today's run. And I hope you enjoyed this video, found it amusing, helpful, informative, probably none of those things, but it was fun to do. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next one, or rather you will see me in the next one.